All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to start this lesson by giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachakodash. Double honors, as always, to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us all this truth, and who also rule and teach well. And Shalom to Allah Achim in this truth and sincerity, starting with the 144,000 and the 1/3 of the nation of Israel, which we are fighting to be a part of. All right, and this is your brother Khabar Yakal coming back, Lord willing, with another quick and edifying lesson. And this should be a quick one. It's just something that was on my spirit. I was just reading reading the scriptures. I was reading the Psalms, and the spirit hit me, that this is a topic that I could do a lesson on. So the topic is through the fire and water. All right, and basically, this lesson is gonna be going into we're not saved yet. All right, because a lot of wacky tacky Christians, which we're gonna keep on. We're gonna stay on them. we're gonna stay on the wacky tacky Christians. Because that's a lot of lessons we could do based off of everything they got wrong. In the scriptures, for us to, correct them and edify the hopeful elect. So yes, we're not saved, all right? The scripture says he that endures to the end. Matter of fact, I'll start with that. I believe it's endureth. Let me see. Or just endure. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13. Matter of fact, I'll start at 12. It says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And basically Yahweh Shai was saying things to look for, to know that his return, his second coming, which he will return very soon. Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, his true name in the ancient Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, which means he saves or he delivers, which is a very dark brown man with woolly textured hair, hair like sheep's wool, that's also the color of white. You can read about that in Revelation 1, 14 through 17. And also, Daniel 7 and 9, which that's speaking about the Most High, which his name, who the world ignorantly calls God, his name is Yahweh, which means he exists or he is. His son's name is Yahweh Shai, which means he saves or he delivers, which is coming back soon. So Yahweh Shai was saying things to look out for. And we see this, iniquity is abounding, which is iniquity is sin upon sin. People are more evil than ever. People are more deceitful than ever. There's no more trust. People can't even trust their own neighbor. People are getting their TVs turned off just from, low-level stuff like their food taking too long or a Hot Pocket, People are literally getting sent back to the spirit world for a Hot Pocket or for McDonald's. So the love of many is waxing cold. It says, but he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. So we're not saved. That's what this lesson is going into. So I'm going to get Psalm 66 and verse 10. And this is what I was reading that sparked through the spirit this lesson. This is Psalm 66 and verse 10. It says, for thou, matter of fact, I'll start at 9. It says, which holdeth, I'll start at 8. It says, O bless our God, ye people, the elect of the nation of Israel, all right? Which the Israelites are you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and also scattered Israelites who don't look like those people I just named, all right? And only a remnant, a small number of those people are going to, do what this scripture just said. Oh, bless our God, which is Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. He's our God. He's the God of Israel. He's not the God of Ham. He's not the God of Esau. He's not the God of Ishmael. He's the God of Israel, the God of Jacob. The Israelites, who so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And he's the one true God. You know, all these other nations, they got their gods. They got gods that look like them, or gods that look like weird creatures with multiple arms and legs. Well, we got the one true God, the one who actually created all that you see. His name is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahweh Shai. All right, which we worship those names. Oh, bless our God, ye people, and make the voice of his praise to be heard. We're doing that with these lessons, with these videos, which holdeth our soul in life, and suffereth not our feet to be moved. Meaning the elect is always going to be the elect. You can't knock the elect out of their place. They're always going to be the elect, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it. Even another member of the elect can't say or do anything to another member of the elect. All right? You know? Yahweh Shah said no one can pluck them out of his hand and his father's hand. So it's completely immovable. So it says, for thou, O power, hast proved us. Thou hast tried us as silver is tried. So he's proving us and he's testing us. That's what the word try means, to test. Just like silver, you know, when you watch videos of people making jewelry, you know, silversmiths, goldsmiths, you know, they put the actual the silver, the element of the silver or gold, they put it through various different tests to see how pure it is, and to also make it more pure, you know, to burn out the impurities. And how do they do that? By fire. They got to put it in the furnace to melt it down, you know. And we're that gold. We are that silver that the Lord is trying, you know. In the NLT it says, you have tested us, O God, you have purified us like silver. All right. And silver, not only, like I mentioned, it purified, you know, the silversmiths, you know, they purify it by heating it up. But silver itself can actually purify your blood, you know. You know, a little off topic, but it just came into my mind. You know, you could get colloidal silver, you know, what is it called? Bioactive silver, something like that. But pretty much colloidal silver, it could purify your blood, you know. But the Lord is testing us and purifying us like silver. It says, thou broughtest us into the net. Thou laidest affliction upon our loins. All right. So that's how you know we're not saved yet. Once we're saved, we're not going to be afflicted anymore. You know, the afflictions that we're going through is really the Lord allowing it to happen ultimately for a lesson unto us to learn, you know, the negative. So in the kingdom of heaven, we could understand the positive and appreciate it that much more. The positive was going back to the Garden of Eden. You know, everything was a paradise. You didn't have to work. You know, there was no birth pain. The animals, you know, we ate vegetables. The animals didn't kill each other. There was no death. But we had to go through this whole experience to learn the negative side of the spectrum. So that's why he's laying affliction upon our loins. It says, thou hast caused men to ride over our heads. You know, the other nations, our enemies. They're riding over us. All right. The scripture says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants on the earth. That's how you know. That's talking about our enemies. It says, we went through fire. Here's the point. We went through fire and through water, but thou broughtest us into a wealthy place. Okay. So that's all the afflictions that we're going through. It's likened unto a fire and water. All right. And I'm going to go into that even more in the next scripture. 2nd Ezra 7, starting at 6, it says, there is also another thing. A city is builded, and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. All right. That's that wealthy place. So it says the entrance thereof is narrow and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand and on the left hand on the left a deep water. So that lines up with the scripture I just read in Psalms, To get to that wealthy place, the path between where we're at and where that wealthy place is, which is the kingdom of heaven, that city full of all good things, that's the kingdom of heaven. But the entrance is this truth. This path that we're walking, that's the entrance. That's the pathway, the straight gate, which I'm going to get to that. All right. But this truth that we're in right now, like Elder Apostle Gabar says, our beloved Elder Apostle, this thing of ours, this is the path that we're on. That's why it's so hard. It's no coincidence that this is so difficult. On a spiritual, mental, and physical level, but mainly on a spiritual level, this is very difficult. Continuing on, it says, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. All right. So this path that we're on, this isn't something that you could, you can't make it based off of someone else's works. You got to walk in your own lane. There's men in front of us guiding us. If you picture it in your head like a tightrope, and only one man could go at a time, and it's just a line of men with their hands, their hands on the shoulder of the man in front of them. Imagine it like that. You're reaching out, holding the shoulders of the man in front of you. There's a man behind you holding your shoulders. And it's just a huge chain of men. That's the truth. All right? And the elect is going to hold on and endure to the end. But the wicked is going to fall into that deep water or that fire, which is ultimately destruction. It says, if this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, this city is being given to us. It's being promised to us. The Lord, he basically told us, I'm going to give you this inheritance, this city. I'm going to give you the keys to this city, pretty much. All you got to do is, what's that scripture? The talents. All you got to do is flip this talent. He gave us a talent, which is pretty much is money, which is the truth. And he told us to flip it, which is for us to pretty much finish the work, make a return on that investment, to teach, to grow, abound in the truth, grow in the fruits of the Spirit. That's like adding more talents onto that one talent that he gave us. But if we can do that, when he returns and we got even more money than what he gave us, than what we started, hey, there's a reward for that. He's going to put us over this city, which is the kingdom of heaven. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? So how are we going to get that immortality, that everlasting life, that crown, the righteous kingdom that we're fighting for, for righteousness to reign supreme on the earth? Wickedness and evil and unjustness is reigning supreme on this planet right now. We're fighting for righteousness, goodness, fair and righteous judgment. That's what we're fighting for. How are we going to get there if we don't face the danger before us? We got to be brave. That's why it says in Joshua, be of good courage. We got to be courageous, because this is a dangerous path, but we got to face that danger, though. We can't run from it. Speaking to myself first and foremost, I'm going to get Matthew 13 and 7. And I mentioned, the straight gate, so let me go ahead and get it. Matter of fact, 7 and 13, I always get those mixed up. 7 and 13. It says, enter ye in at the straight gate. Remember what I just read. It said that path is only so narrow, only one man could go in at a time. So enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Right? Many people fall into that water or that fire. You know, many people, but few actually go on that straight and narrow path, which is us. You know, Lord willing, we're of the elect. And yeah, we could say that we're the hopeful elect, because somebody has to be of the elect. Somebody got to be saved. You know, what better people than the ones serving Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua? Lord willing, we continue to do so. You know, in all humility. It says, because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way that which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Only a few, 144,000 and 1/3, which is millions of people, but in comparison to the rest of the nation of Israel, it's a small number. So I'll end off with this. But we got to go through that fire and that water to get it. You know, we got to go through it without actually falling off, but we still feel the heat of it. We still feel the water splashes. The water, the water starts rising, Hey, but we got to go through it. I'm going to end off with this. Zechariah 13 and 9. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and through the water. It says, and will refine them as silver. Ooh, matter of fact, since I said that, it says when the enemy shall come in like a flood. So we're gonna have to go through the water too. When this devil tries to come after us, whatever enemy comes after us, they're all likened unto water, But it says, I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined. He's gonna make us better, and we'll try them as gold is tried. He's gonna test us, our integrity, just like gold. If you want gold to shine, you got to test it. You got to put fire on it. It says, they shall call on my name. What is his name? Yahweh. What is his son's name? Yahawashi. And I will hear them. I will say, it is my people. And they shall say, the Lord is my power. So Lord, this lesson was edifying. Once again, giving our praise to Yahweh, B'Shem Yahawashi, B'Shem Chawudah Shalom.